Subversive literature, spanning centuries from medieval grimoires to modern manifestos, forms a vast and intricate tapestry of human thought, challenging the foundations of authority, morality, and metaphysical understanding. These texts, ranging from political calls to action to esoteric rituals, embody philosophies that provoke, empower, or unsettle, each contributing uniquely to a collective reservoir of knowledge that redefines power, freedom, and existence. From revolutionary visions of social justice to occult explorations of demonic forces, these works reflect humanity's relentless drive to question established norms, assert individual will, or probe hidden truths. This essay organizes an exhaustive collection of such texts, drawn from a comprehensive discourse, in chronological order of their attributed writing, offering an expansive examination of their content, philosophical underpinnings, and contributions to knowledge. By tracing their historical emergence, we uncover interconnected themes: rebellion, self-actualization, metaphysical inquiry, and moral provocation, that illuminate their significance, revealing how they shape human understanding across diverse domains. The texts under consideration, written between the 13th and 20th centuries, encompass a spectrum of intents and impacts. Some, like the Communist Manifesto, ignite social upheaval with visions of collective equity, weaving narratives of class struggle into political thought. Others, such as the Social Contract, reimagine governance, threading ideas of liberty and sovereignty into the fabric of human freedom. Esoteric works, like the Grand Grimoire and the Lesser Key of Solomon, delve into mystical realms, offering rituals that promise supernatural power. Texts like Mein Kampf and the Protocols of the Elders of Zion stir controversy with their ideological agendas, while the Turner Diaries provokes with dystopian visions of violence. These works, whether widely circulated or confined to obscure circles, share a subversive spirit, challenging political, religious, or cultural norms with alternative visions of reality. Their descriptions range from revolutionary blueprints to provocative philosophies to arcane manuals, each shaped by its historical context and the human impulse to defy or transcend. The thematic diversity of these texts, spanning social reform, individual empowerment, occult exploration, and ideological extremism, creates a rich mosaic of knowledge. Political texts, such as Das Kapital and Rules for Radicals, dismantle systemic oppression, proposing new social orders grounded in justice or activism. Philosophical works, like the Satanic Bible and the Book of the Law, reject conventional morality, weaving narratives of self-interest or esoteric wisdom. Occult texts, such as the Book of Abramelin and the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic, probe hidden dimensions, threading mystical practices into human curiosity about the unseen. Even texts associated with harm, like Malleus Maleficarum or the 120 Days of Sodom, contribute to knowledge by exposing the extremes of control or nihilism, serving as cautionary or intellectual touchstones. The debate over the Protocols of the Elders of Zion's authenticity underscores the complexity of subversive texts, reflecting both their power to shape narratives and their susceptibility to manipulation. This essay organizes these texts by their attributed writing dates, ensuring a historical progression that illuminates their evolution. Each entry provides an expansive description of the text's content, an overview of its philosophical or practical aims, and a summary of its contribution to knowledge, weaving a narrative that connects their themes across centuries. From medieval grimoires to modern ideological tracts, these works collectively challenge authority, offering insights into human aspirations, fears, and controversies. The conclusion synthesizes their contributions, highlighting how their diverse philosophies, revolutionary, individualistic, esoteric, or provocative, form a collective body of knowledge that reflects humanity's enduring quest to redefine power, meaning, and existence, without anchoring the analysis to any single religious text. Chronological analysis of subversive texts. The Sworn Book of Honorius. Written in the 13th century and attributed to the mythical figure Honorius of Thebes, the Sworn Book of Honorius is a medieval grimoire that intricately weaves Christian mysticism with occult practices, offering a detailed compendium of rituals designed to summon angels and demons for purposes ranging from divine insight to malevolent curses. The text outlines complex ceremonies requiring fasting, prayer, and the use of sacred symbols, alongside spells to gain knowledge, wield power, or enact harm, emphasizing spiritual discipline as a prerequisite for supernatural communion. Its philosophy merges spiritual ambition with taboo practices, subverting religious orthodoxy by repurposing sacred rituals for demonic ends, appealing to medieval scholars and mystics who sought esoteric wisdom beyond the Church's constraints. The work's narrative of spiritual rebellion challenges the boundaries of faith, presenting a pathway to transcend human limitations through mystical engagement. By threading ideas of divine and demonic interplay, it reflects the medieval tension between orthodoxy and forbidden knowledge, creating a provocative exploration of spiritual power. The Sworn Book contributes significantly to metaphysical knowledge, offering insights into the human desire to access hidden truths and wield supernatural influence. Its limited circulation among occult practitioners underscoring its niche but enduring role in shaping esoteric traditions. The Book of Abramelin. Composed in the mid-14th to early 15th century by Abraham of Worms, a Jewish mystic, the Book of Abramelin is a grimoire that presents an elaborate 18-month ritual to contact a holy guardian angel, granting the practitioner authority over demons for purposes such as acquiring knowledge, casting curses, or manipulating others. Combining Jewish mysticism with magical practices, the text requires rigorous spiritual preparation, including fasting and seclusion, and provides detailed incantations for both benevolent and harmful outcomes, reflecting a complex interplay of divine and occult elements. Its philosophy seeks spiritual elevation through forbidden rituals, subverting religious norms by blending sacred aspirations with demonic control, appealing to those craving transcendence through esoteric means. The narrative weaves a vision of disciplined mysticism, emphasizing personal mastery over supernatural forces as a path to enlightenment, challenging conventional boundaries of faith and morality. The Book of Abramelin enriches occult knowledge by threading narratives of spiritual ambition and power, offering a window into medieval spirituality and the human quest to harness unseen forces. Its limited readership among dedicated occultists highlighting its esoteric significance and influence on later magical traditions. The Munich Manual of Demonic Magic. Crafted in 15th century Germany as a Latin manuscript, the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic is a grimoire that focuses on necromancy, demon summoning, and curses, providing meticulous rituals to manipulate spirits or harm enemies through magical circles, incantations, and offerings. Written during a period of heightened fear of witchcraft, the text emphasizes practical magic for tangible outcomes like revenge or influence, with detailed instructions for invoking supernatural entities to achieve destructive ends. Its philosophy prioritizes control over otherworldly forces, subverting Christian prohibitions against sorcery as outlined in religious texts, appealing to practitioners seeking power or retribution in a superstitious era. The narrative weaves a stark vision of defiance, positioning magic as a tool to challenge religious and social norms, reflecting medieval anxieties about the occult and its potential to disrupt order. The Munich Manual contributes to esoteric knowledge by threading narratives of supernatural dominance, revealing the era's fascination with and fear of forbidden practices, its obscurity among occult scholars underscoring its provocative nature and enduring role in demonological studies. Malleus Maleficarum. Authored in 1486 by Heinrich Kramer and Jacob Sprenger, Malleus Maleficarum is a treatise that serves as a comprehensive manual for identifying, prosecuting, and executing alleged witches, codifying misogynistic and superstitious beliefs about demonic influence in late medieval Europe. The text combines theological arguments with legal procedures, detailing signs of witchcraft, interrogation techniques, and justifications for punishment, reflecting the era's intense religious fervor and fear of heresy. Its philosophy enforces religious orthodoxy, subverting rational inquiry by promoting fear-driven persecution, framing dissent, particularly by women, as demonic and justifying extreme measures to maintain control. Appealing to ecclesiastical and secular authorities, the work weaves a narrative of fear and power, legitimizing witch hunts as a defense against perceived evil. Malleus Maleficarum contributes to historical knowledge by threading narratives of control and fanaticism, exposing the dangers of dogmatic authority and its societal impact. its widespread influence in shaping witch hunts across Europe cementing its role as a cautionary study of religious extremism and the perils of unchecked power. The Lesser Key of Solomon. Written in the mid-17th century and attributed to the legendary King Solomon, the Lesser Key of Solomon is a grimoire that compiles rituals for summoning 72 demons, with its most famous section, the Ars Goetia, listing their sigils, powers, and invocation methods in meticulous detail. Blending mystical and practical elements, the text offers tools for controlling supernatural forces to achieve goals like knowledge, wealth, or influence, requiring precise rituals and magical symbols. Its philosophy seeks mastery over esoteric forces, subverting religious norms by providing access to demonic power, appealing to occultists who craved hidden knowledge in an era of growing scientific inquiry. The narrative weaves a vision of spiritual ambition, positioning the practitioner as a commander of otherworldly entities, challenging Christian prohibitions against sorcery. The Lesser Key contributes to occult knowledge by threading narratives of supernatural authority, illuminating human curiosity about the unseen and its potential for empowerment, its limited circulation among occult practitioners reflecting its esoteric allure and lasting influence on ceremonial magic. The Grimoire of Honorius. Composed in the late 17th century and attributed to Pope Honorius III, the Grimoire of Honorius is a provocative grimoire that outlines rituals for summoning demons and casting curses, requiring sacrilegious acts such as desecrating Christian symbols to achieve supernatural ends. The text blends religious imagery with occult practices, emphasizing ritual precision to invoke demonic powers for purposes like harm or manipulation, reflecting the era's tension between faith and forbidden knowledge. Its philosophy inverts religious rituals, subverting Christian orthodoxy by repurposing sacred elements for taboo purposes, appealing to those seeking power through defiant means. The narrative weaves a stark vision of spiritual rebellion, positioning the practitioner as a master of profane forces, challenging the moral boundaries of the time. The Grimoire of Honorius enriches occult knowledge by threading narratives of defiance and power, illuminating the complex interplay between sacred and profane in human thought, its obscurity among occult scholars underscoring its provocative nature and niche appeal in esoteric traditions. The Grand Grimoire. Crafted in the early 18th century, likely around the early 1700s, and known as the Red Dragon, the Grand Grimoire is a French grimoire that provides detailed rituals for summoning Lucifer and other demons, including pacts for wealth, power, or harm, often requiring blood offerings or sacrilegious acts to complete the ceremonies. The text emphasizes elaborate preparations, such as magical circles and incantations, to secure demonic alliances, reflecting the Enlightenment-era fascination with occult power amidst growing secularism. Its philosophy glorifies forbidden alliances, subverting Christian morality with promises of earthly gain, appealing to those seeking influence beyond religious constraints. The narrative weaves a vision of defiant ambition, positioning the practitioner as a negotiator with supernatural forces, challenging the era's moral and religious norms. The Grand Grimoire contributes to occult knowledge by threading narratives of supernatural ambition, reflecting humanity's fascination with power beyond conventional bounds, its limited circulation among occultists highlighting its provocative and esoteric significance. The Black Pullet. Written in the mid-18th century, the Black Pullet is an anonymous French grimoire that details talismanic magic for achieving wealth, love, and destruction, offering spells to summon spirits or harm enemies through intricate rituals and magical artifacts. The text blends esoteric allure with practical outcomes, providing instructions for creating talismans imbued with supernatural powers, reflecting the Enlightenment's curiosity about occult practices as a counterpoint to rationalism. Its philosophy seeks magical utility, subverting moral norms by offering tools for personal gain or harm, appealing to practitioners desiring control over tangible and spiritual realms. The narrative weaves a vision of empowerment through forbidden means, positioning the practitioner as a master of mystical forces, challenging religious and ethical boundaries. The Black Pullet enriches esoteric knowledge by threading narratives of practical magic, highlighting human desires for influence through taboo practices, its limited readership among occult enthusiasts underscoring its niche but enduring role in magical traditions. The 120 Days of Sodom. Written in 1785 by Marquis de Sade, The 120 Days of Sodom is a novel that depicts extreme violence, sexual depravity, and moral nihilism, chronicling the exploits of four aristocrats who indulge in unrestrained cruelty within an isolated castle. The narrative explores the boundaries of human behavior through graphic accounts of torture and excess, framed as a literary provocation rather than a practical guide, reflecting the late 18th century Enlightenment's fascination with moral and philosophical extremes. Its philosophy probes the limits of freedom and ethics, subverting societal norms with a nihilistic lens that questions the foundations of morality, appealing to intellectuals willing to confront humanity's darkest impulses. The narrative weaves a provocative exploration of human nature, challenging readers to grapple with the absence of moral constraints. The 120 Days of Sodom contributes to philosophical knowledge by threading narratives of moral inquiry, exposing the extremes of human behavior and sparking debates on ethics and freedom, its literary status ensuring its place in intellectual discourse. The Infernal Dictionary. Authored in 1818 by Jacques-Collin de Planzy, the Infernal Dictionary is a comprehensive compendium that catalogues demons, their powers, and rituals for invocation, blending scholarly documentation with occult lore to provide detailed entries on supernatural entities and spells for manipulation or harm. Written in the post-Enlightenment era, the text reflects a fascination with demonology as both a scholarly and mystical pursuit, offering rituals that range from summoning spirits to enacting curses. Its philosophy systematizes forbidden knowledge, subverting religious norms by glorifying demonic powers, appealing to occult scholars and curious intellectuals seeking to explore the supernatural. The narrative weaves a vision of intellectual and esoteric curiosity, positioning the practitioner as a student of hidden forces, challenging Christian prohibitions against sorcery. The Infernal Dictionary enriches occult knowledge by threading narratives of demonic exploration, reflecting humanity's fascination with the forbidden, its limited circulation among esoteric thinkers highlighting its niche but significant role in occult studies. The Communist Manifesto. Written in 1848 by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, the Communist Manifesto is a revolutionary call to action that articulates a vision of class struggle, urging the proletariat to overthrow capitalist hierarchies and establish a classless society based on collective justice. The text critiques economic exploitation, detailing the oppressive mechanisms of capitalism and advocating for revolutionary change to achieve equity, reflecting the industrial era's social upheavals. Its philosophy seeks economic justice, subverting capitalist norms with a radical ethos of collective empowerment, appealing to workers and intellectuals who envision a fairer world. The narrative weaves a vision of societal transformation, positioning the oppressed as agents of change, challenging entrenched power structures. The Communist Manifesto contributes to political knowledge by threading narratives of justice and rebellion, reshaping modern thought on class dynamics and economic systems, its widespread resonance underscoring its transformative impact on social movements. Das Kapital. Authored in 1867 by Karl Marx, Das Kapital is an exhaustive treatise that analyzes the exploitative structures of capitalism, detailing economic mechanisms like surplus value and their social consequences, written during the peak of the Industrial Revolution. The text critiques the systemic injustices of capitalist economies, exposing how wealth concentration perpetuates class oppression, and advocates for structural reform through rigorous economic analysis. Its philosophy seeks to dismantle economic hierarchies, subverting capitalist norms with a vision of systemic change, appealing to scholars and activists committed to addressing inequality. The narrative weaves a critical exploration of societal power, positioning economic critique as a tool for liberation, challenging the era's dominant ideologies. Das Kapital enriches economic knowledge by threading narratives of systemic critique and reform, illuminating the mechanics of power and exploitation, its widespread influence shaping economic and political discourse across centuries. A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Authored in 1792 by Mary Wollstonecraft, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman is a seminal treatise that argues for women's equality, challenging patriarchal norms with a passionate call for education, autonomy, and intellectual freedom. Written during the Enlightenment, the text critiques societal restrictions that subjugate women, advocating for their inclusion in public and intellectual life based on reason and justice, reflecting the era's emphasis on universal human rights. Its philosophy seeks gender equity, subverting patriarchal structures with a vision of empowerment through education, appealing to reformers and intellectuals who champion social progress. The narrative weaves a powerful case for liberation, positioning women as equal agents in society, challenging systemic oppression with rational arguments. A Vindication contributes to feminist and philosophical knowledge by threading narratives of equality and empowerment, reshaping societal views on gender and power, its widespread resonance among Enlightenment thinkers cementing its role in advancing social justice. What is to be done? Written in 1902 by Vladimir Lenin, What is to be done? Is a political text that outlines strategies for revolutionary organization, urging disciplined action to overthrow Tsarist oppression in Russia through the formation of a vanguard party. Composed during a period of intense political unrest, the text emphasizes the need for a structured revolutionary movement to mobilize workers, detailing tactics for propaganda and agitation. Its philosophy prioritizes revolutionary praxis, subverting political authority with a vision of liberation for the oppressed, appealing to activists committed to systemic change. The narrative weaves a blueprint for organized rebellion, positioning the revolutionary as a disciplined agent of transformation, challenging autocratic power structures. What is to be done? Enriches political knowledge by threading narratives of strategic activism, shaping revolutionary thought and practice, its widespread impact among early 20th century radicals underscoring its role in political movements. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Written in 1903 in Russia, The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is a text of disputed authenticity that purports to document a Jewish conspiracy to control global affairs, outlining alleged plans for economic and political domination through manipulation of institutions. Emerging in an era of rising anti-Semitism, the text gained widespread attention, with proponents arguing it exposes hidden power structures, citing its alignment with historical events like economic crises as evidence of its truth. Critics, however, assert it is a forgery, pointing to its plagiarism from Maurice Joly's Dialogue in Hell, 1864, and its use by Russian secret police to incite hatred, supported by biased historical evidence debunking its claims. Its philosophy claims to reveal elite manipulation, subverting trust in societal institutions, appealing to those drawn to conspiracy narratives, though its disputed nature fuels ongoing debate. The narrative weaves a provocative vision of suspicion and division, influencing ideological discourse by amplifying mistrust. The Protocols contributes to knowledge of propaganda and social division, threading narratives of power and mistrust, its widespread influence highlighting its role in shaping anti-Semitic thought and conspiracy culture, despite its contested authenticity. The Book of the Law. Authored in 1904 by Aleister Crowley, the Book of the Law is a foundational text of Thelema, a philosophy of individual will delivered through alleged supernatural revelation, written during a period of growing interest in esoteric spirituality. The text includes cryptic verses and rituals that emphasize personal freedom and self-actualization, urging followers to pursue their true will above societal or religious constraints. Its philosophy exalts individual liberation, subverting religious and social norms with esoteric insight, appealing to those seeking spiritual autonomy through mysticism. The narrative weaves a vision of rebellious enlightenment, positioning the practitioner as a sovereign agent of their destiny, challenging conventional morality. The Book of the Law contributes to esoteric knowledge by threading narratives of individual empowerment, reshaping views on spirituality and freedom, its limited but dedicated readership reflecting its provocative influence on occult thought. Mein Kampf. Written in 1925 by Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf is an autobiographical manifesto that outlines his anti-Semitic, nationalist, and militaristic ideology, advocating racial supremacy and territorial expansion during a period of post-World War I turmoil in Germany. The text details Hitler's personal beliefs, political strategies, and vision for a racially homogeneous state, blending propaganda with ideological fervor to shape the Nazi agenda. Its philosophy promotes authoritarian nationalism, subverting democratic values with a vision of exclusionary dominance, appealing to extremists seeking to reshape society through force. The narrative weaves a chilling case for ideological control, positioning racial purity as a societal ideal, challenging humanistic principles. Mein Kampf contributes to knowledge of ideological extremism, threading narratives of power and prejudice, offering a cautionary study of destructive political thought, its widespread historical impact underscoring its role in shaping catastrophic policies. The Satanic Bible. Authored in 1969 by Anton Lavey, the Satanic Bible codifies atheistic Satanism, using Satan as a symbolic figure for individualism, hedonism, and skepticism, written during the countercultural upheaval of the late 1960s. The text includes the 9 satanic statements, philosophical essays, and rituals designed for personal empowerment, rejecting traditional religious morality in favor of self-interest and earthly fulfillment. Its philosophy subverts spiritual authority, promoting autonomy over dogma, appealing to those seeking liberation from conventional norms. The narrative weaves a provocative vision of personal freedom, positioning the individual as the ultimate authority, challenging religious and moral hierarchies. The Satanic Bible contributes to philosophical knowledge by threading narratives of skepticism and autonomy, reshaping perspectives on morality and power, its widespread readership reflecting its cultural provocation and appeal. Rules for Radicals. Written in 1971 by Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals is a manual that provides practical tactics for grassroots activism, offering strategies to empower communities against institutional power during a period of social and political activism in the United States. The text details methods for organizing, confronting authority, and shifting power dynamics, emphasizing pragmatic rebellion to achieve social change. Its philosophy seeks to disrupt systemic inequities, subverting institutional authority with a vision of community empowerment, appealing to activists committed to justice. The narrative weaves a blueprint for action, positioning the organizer as a catalyst for change, challenging entrenched power structures. Rules for Radicals enriches political knowledge by threading narratives of practical activism, offering tools for social transformation, its widespread influence underscoring its role in shaping community organizing. The Turner Diaries. Written in 1978 by William Luther Pierce under the pseudonym Andrew MacDonald, The Turner Diaries is a dystopian novel that depicts a violent white supremacist revolution in the United States, advocating racial genocide and societal overthrow, composed during a period of rising far-right extremism. The narrative follows a malicious campaign to dismantle the government and eliminate minorities, presenting a chilling vision of racial and ideological conflict. Its philosophy promotes extremist supremacy, subverting social cohesion with a call for violent division, appealing to fringe groups drawn to radical ideologies. The narrative weaves a provocative case for destruction, positioning racial purity as a revolutionary goal, challenging democratic and humanistic values. The Turner Diaries contributes to knowledge of extremist propaganda, threading narratives of division and violence, serving as a cautionary study of radical ideologies, its limited but impactful readership highlighting its provocative influence. The Black Book of Communism. Authored in 1997 by Stephen Courtois and others, The Black Book of Communism is a historical analysis that critiques communist regimes, arguing they caused widespread death and oppression through purges, famines, and authoritarian policies, written in the post-Cold War era. The text examines case studies from the Soviet Union, China, and other communist states, presenting a narrative of ideological failure and human cost. Its philosophy seeks to expose the flaws of Marxism, subverting leftist ideals with a critical lens, appealing to scholars and anti-communist advocates. The narrative weaves a case for ideological critique, positioning communism as a destructive force, challenging revolutionary optimism. The Black Book contributes to historical knowledge by threading narratives of political critique, exposing the consequences of extremism, its widespread academic influence underscoring its role in shaping post-Cold War discourse. Conclusion. The expansive collection of subversive texts, spanning the 13th to 20th centuries, forms a profound repository of human knowledge, weaving together philosophies of rebellion, power, metaphysical exploration, and ideological provocation. From medieval grimoires to modern manifestos, These works reflect humanity's relentless drive to challenge authority, redefine morality, and probe the unseen, each contributing uniquely to a collective understanding of power, freedom, and existence. Their thematic diversity, encompassing social justice, individual autonomy, occult wisdom, and extremist ideologies, creates a rich tapestry of ideas, threading narratives that illuminate the complexities of human thought and aspiration. Medieval grimoires, such as the Sworn Book of Honorius, the Book of Abramelin, and the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic, weave narratives of esoteric power, subverting religious norms with rituals that promise control over supernatural forces. Their limited circulation reflects their niche appeal, yet they enrich occult knowledge by exploring humanity's fascination with the forbidden. Malleus Maleficarum threads narratives of fear and control, exposing the perils of religious fanaticism, while the 120 Days of Sodom probes moral extremes, contributing to philosophical debates on human nature. Political texts like the Communist Manifesto, Das Kapital, What is to be Done, and Rules for Radicals weave narratives of justice and activism, reshaping societal structures with calls for equity and empowerment. Their widespread resonance underscores their transformative impact on political thought. Philosophical and esoteric works, such as the Satanic Bible and the Book of the Law, thread narratives of individual liberation, challenging spiritual and moral norms with visions of autonomy and self-actualization. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, despite its disputed authenticity, contributes to knowledge of propaganda, weaving narratives of mistrust that highlight the power of divisive ideas. Mein Kampf and the Turner Diaries offer cautionary insights into extremist ideologies, threading narratives of prejudice and violence that underscore the dangers of radical thought. The Black Book of Communism critiques political ideologies, weaving narratives of historical failure that shape modern discourse. Together, these texts form a constellation of subversive ideas, each illuminating a facet of humanity's quest for meaning, power, or truth. The collective significance of these works lies in their shared defiance, challenging political, religious, or cultural norms with diverse philosophies. Their varied reception, celebrated, condemned, or marginalized, reflects their power to provoke, inspire, or unsettle. From revolutionary calls to esoteric rituals to extremist visions, they weave a narrative of human ambition, exposing the tensions between control and freedom, knowledge and fear. This comprehensive exploration affirms their role as a dynamic body of knowledge, not a singular doctrine, but a multifaceted reflection of humanity's enduring struggle to redefine its place in the world.